Hi guys, it's Anne Strom, your Children's Director at St. John's, and I'm excited to get to bring our reflection connection tonight. Oftentimes when I find myself reflecting, I find myself using hymns, or words of hymns, or where hymns came from, because music is such an important part of my life. So I recently came across this reflection on the hymn, How Great Thou Art, by Ellie Holcomb, and I thought I would share it with you tonight. So in this reflection, Ellie says, "How great thou art always has a way of undoing me. Something happens to me each time I sing this old hymn, whether singing along with hundreds of other voices or alone in my car. The atmosphere seems to shift, and I'm left wondering what it is specifically about this hymn that causes such a stir within me." When Billy Graham was asked why he used the song so much at his crusades, he said this: "It glorifies God. It turns Christians' eyes towards God rather than upon themselves. I use it as often as possible because it is such a God-honoring song." And there you have it. It honors God and shifts our gaze away from ourselves back to our Father. He is greater than any joy this world has to offer, greater than any storm our souls will ever weather. This past month has been filled with anxiety for me. I've continually felt like a failure at life. There are so many things I have left undone. People I haven't seen, phone calls I haven't returned, and after having a new baby boy, so much sleep that I haven't been getting. I feel like the worst version of myself. And yet, as I read through this old hymn, I am once again reminded that the gospel isn't really about me and how I'm doing. It's about our great God and what he has done for us. The hymn began as a poem written by Karl Broberg in the late 19th century, but it was British missionary Stuart Hine who took the Russian translation of Broberg's original and created the commonly known English version. Hine was on a trip through the Carpathian Mountains of Ukraine with his wife, preaching in a mountain village, when they were caught in a terrible storm. In awe as the thunder echoed through the mountains, Hine was inspired to write the first verse of his English paraphrase. "O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed." That power Hine witnessed is the gospel power at work in you and me. Like the psalmist penned, "I lift my eyes up to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth." Psalm 121. I love how this hymn helps me lift my eyes from my inadequacies to his sufficiencies, from my not enough to his always enough. It helps me to remember the wonderful works that he has done and to meditate on those rather than circling around and around the things I have left undone. I love how this song shifts my gaze from my sin and mistakes to God's sacrifice and grace, from my problems and pains to God's power and mercy, from the mess of my heart to the beauty of his love, from the ache of this world to the hope of our true eternal home in heaven. Friends, let's gather around and sing this song today, turning our eyes from ourselves to our awesome God, proclaiming his goodness and faithfulness to our own souls and to those around us. The same God who is over the storms, who created the hills and valleys, comes down to be our helper. The same God who spoke the mountains into existence, who knit us together in our mother's wombs, sent his own Son to take our place on the cross. And that same God will come again one day to make all things new. I am so thankful for the way this song helps us remind our souls of his greatness and his goodness. May we sing it together today and remind one another of its truth every day. I think that was just a very powerful message of reminding us that we need to praise him, because even in the midst of everything that's crazy going on, all of our failures and fears, God is great. He's been there through all of us, with all of us. I hope you have a great night. And remember to praise our wonderful and amazing God.